Yeah, so I knew a guy. He actually worked with the athletes at the Olympic Training Center. And he goes, Nick, my most successful athletes are my least happy. And I was like, yes, that makes perfect sense. He goes, no, Nick, these people are miserable. I'm like, that makes even more sense because I understand we want to win so bad. So there's something that like Ed Milet talks about. It's called blissful dissatisfaction. I'm not satisfied with where I'm at, but I'm still happy in the journey. So we like to make sure that we have, this is something that we've just been doing about the past 4 years. I've been preaching it a lot. If you have a list of goals, you have your goals and you read those every day or twice a day, but you also have your mission accomplished list. List the goals that you've already reached because a goal list is like, enjoy how far you have come. And they call that gratitude, right? And the word gratitude is thrown around a lot. And being grateful. It's just being happy. So it's okay. It's good. It's actually healthy. It's actually very, very helpful. It keeps you from getting stress and anxiety when you look at how far you've come. Look at what you have accomplished. You've done very well so far. Now, sure, is there work to do? Yes. And I can sleep good at night and I can be excited about tomorrow's training when I look at all the stuff I have accomplished and we don't just focus on what we have not accomplished. But, as far as not wrapping your whole identity up in your outcome, I definitely think that's very important. And it's difficult to do because, thoughts of not accomplishing all the goals that you set for yourself can be very scary. Especially if someone is truly going for it. And there's very few people that truly are. And I know the jiu-jitsu community, which we're talking to now, I mean, these people they're in construction, they're teachers, they're nurses, they're selling insurance. Most people watching this, now there might be some MMA fighters, right? Evan Elder, he fights for the UFC and he's got another fight coming up. He trained with us last week. So he might need to read that, but most of your followers now, let's say they're adults with 3 kids and they hardly have time to do anything. They just jiu-jitsu for the fun and they do competitions. They probably don't have the problem of wrapping their whole identity up in their jiu-jitsu outcome because they're like, dude, I got 4 kids. I wish I could, okay? So I think that, but they can probably relate that back when they were a kid and they were a gymnast and they were in the gym 20 hours a week, how they wish they could have it to do all over again and just freaking enjoyed it a little bit more. So that's really what we're getting to here. And I had a teammate in college, Pat Smith, John Smith's brother. He was a 4-time NCAA champion. And after he won his 4th title, he was like, NCAAs, he's like, Nick, you know why I was able to compete so well under pressure and whatever? And I go, why? And he said, because I know that even if I didn't win that 4th title, that I was going to have a great life. I was going to marry Candy. That was his girlfriend at the time. I just kind of hung out with her at the Big 12 wrestling, bumped into her. Been a long time. And I'm going to have a farm one day, and I'm going to be a college coach, and I'm going to have kids of my own, and I'm going to have horses, and I'm just going to have a kick-ass, awesome life. I'll make a bunch of money, and I'm going to be fine. And that was very mature. I'm sure he worked with a performance coach. We didn't have those in college, but I mean, his brother was considered the best wrestler on planet Earth, still is. His other brother, who's way older, was 2nd in the world, 2-time NCAA champ. So, I mean, since he was like in diapers, I mean, their family, like 12 kids in their family. So he had good role models and people teaching him these tactics. I wish we did. But I thought that was very good. And then a guy, Byron Tucker, was 2-time ranked number 1 in the nation that didn't win it. And he started working with a performance coach, they're called now. Back then they're called sports psychologists. He did that. He sat down with a piece of paper and said, what if you're never an NCAA champion? Because he was All-American, but he wanted more. What is your life going to be like if you're never an NCAA champion? And he mapped it all out. And he was very excited about it. And he went on to win an NCAA title. And he says, the reason I was able to win an NCAA title is because I realized that my life doesn't change as an NCAA champion. That day of my life does, and not winning it is still going to be hurtful. Let's not forget that. But, this is a reason Christians have an advantage, right? Because they're like, I'm going to live in eternity one day. Who cares, right? And Cael Sanderson's a very devout Christian, and Cael Sanderson's won 11 out of the past 13 NCAA titles, Olympic champion, never lost in high school, never lost in college. I mean, I don't think he's ever lost at anything. Maybe he should run for president here in the United States. Holy shit, we could use some help. But I do think that long-term outlook is very important, and just spending some time looking at the mission accomplished list and what you've done, and just learning to be happy. And if you're not completely satisfied with where you're at, just look back and see how far you've come. And it's called being a happy warrior. Your listeners should look that term up. And it's a concept from hundreds of years ago, I believe. If I had to do it all over again, I would have been a much better wrestler, because I wrapped, there's this saying that people say, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy if, I'll be happy when I win my state title, I'll be happy when I get the college opportunity, And I was sort of like, I'm going to be miserable until. And when I moved back from Texas and started my wrestling business, I was the first wrestling academy in America. And now there's hundreds or maybe thousands of them, I don't know. It was stressful, quitting 2 high-paying jobs. We had 2 young kids, 2 years old and 3 months old. We both moved back to Missouri with no jobs, sold a nice house in Dallas, Texas, and moved to a little duplex. And it was very stressful for me. And, my wife kind of yelled at me one time. It's like, you're going to ruin your business. You're going to ruin your marriage, just like you ruined your wrestling career. You learn to enjoy this a little bit. We're doing great, right? The business is going well. You're getting ready to retire from teaching after 1 year. We're happy. We got money. We got a nice car we just got. We can live here a few more years. And I just completely changed my life. Just giving me permission. I'm so hard charging, and easy to make myself miserable. And that was years ago. I was 30. That was 23 years ago. So, life's been better now, but I get this whole thing, but that's the whole concept there that we're talking about. But I'm going to read through these real quick. Carefully hone your wrestling style. Master phase 1 and 2 of our DVD series, which is now Online Academy. We have 4 phases. The first 2 are most important. Wrestle and practice like it's a state finals. Keep notes of all your matches, even your wins. Keep a hit list of your opponents. We talked about that. A hit list of people that you want to beat. Or people that you've beaten that you want to beat badly. There's nothing, you personalize a combative sport like jiu-jitsu or wrestling, gets very exciting. Develop a calm, cool, confident attitude. Wrestle to win. Keep 2 sets of records, your win-loss record, and also, your missions accomplished record. Dwell on your wins, not your losses. Train year-round. Get practice partners who have the same mission as you do. Quit hanging around people who don't want to win. Get away from them. Seek out the best coaches and positive people. That's a big one. Go to the big meets and competitions and test your skills. Don't get sidetracked by the normal kids, all right? It's okay to be someone who's driven for success at a high level, whether it's sport or anything else, and other people will make fun of you. That's because they feel bad about themselves, because you are superior to them, and they don't like it, and they have an inferiority complex, but that's not your job to help their confidence. It's your job to win at life. So I would say stick with it, persevere, have a long-term approach, and then the thing is, mentally rest when you can, and don't wrap your identity up in wrestling, and learn to be happy during the journey. So that's the 15 that wraps up that chapter. So there they are. Yeah, so if you want to learn wrestling, it transforms to jiu-jitsu.